Hi, I'm Trudy from the Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply, and I'm speaking to Dr. John Glen today about what's happening in the global economy. John, what are the key trends that you think are affecting the global economy at the moment?
Well, after the financial crisis and recession in Western and Northern American economies in 2008, we're finally seeing those economies that suffered from that recession recovering. The recovery is quite robust in the United Kingdom, robust in North America, and there are signs of an emerging recovery in Western and Eastern Europe. At the same time, we have the emerging economies of East Asia and the very strong economies of China and India that are providing a lot of demand in the global economy, as well as an emerging sub-Saharan Africa and Latin America that are doing very well. So all in all, the global economy is in much better shape, demand is increasing, and obviously procurement and supply professionals have got to make sure that their supply chains are geared up to take advantage of those opportunities.
So you mentioned sort of procurement managers and supply chain professionals. Are there any other sort of specific things that our members will be interested to know about that may affect the work that they do?
Well, in terms of emerging economies, there are now a new set of emerging economies. Jim O'Neill, the Goldman Sachs economist who coined the term BRICS, has come up with MINTS. So now it's Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, Turkey, and to a certain extent South Africa that are in the new emerging economies. And as those opportunities arise, we have to make sure that our supply chains are robust and can reach into those economies to avail the opportunities that are there. At the same time, as our old markets, as our mature markets recover from crisis, we have to make sure that we can turn our supply chains on both effectively and efficiently.
We hear a lot about what's happening with Western economies and how we hopefully see that the recession is at an end. Do you think it's at an end?
Yeah, I think it's probably safe now to call the end of the recession. We've seen quite robust growth in North America. Obviously in the United Kingdom we've enjoyed a very good year ahead of expectations of growth around 2%. Last year we'll probably get 3% growth next year, and then maybe 2.5% ongoing for the next 3 or 4 years. So as far as we're concerned, in North America and the United Kingdom, robust growth has returned to our economies. In Europe, they're still emerging from the doldrums. So yes, there are signs of recovery, but they still have a way to go. So those of us who are located in the United Kingdom, things are looking good. Our mature export markets are returning to growth, and with it the opportunities will come. Further afield, we need to worry about the extent to which excessive growth, maybe in China and India and some of the emerging economies, is actually being moderated so that those economies continue to grow and we don't get a sort of boom and bust scenario.
The market CIPS purchasing managers indices are out shortly. Do you feel that these indices have been good indicators of what's been happening in the economies?
Well, historically they've been exceptionally good indicators of what's happening in the economy. And if we step back for a moment and think of the methodology which actually produces those indices, we go to purchasing managers, we go to people who are out there actually engaging with the real economy and ask them what their expectations are in terms of whether or not they're going to bring in more stocks, bring in more inventory in the next few months. And insofar as they develop correct expectations, they go out and act upon them. Of course, it's a very, very good indicator of both sentiment and of people going out there and increasing activity.
Of course, the world is always changing and there are always challenges ahead. Do you think the Ukrainian crisis will have an impact on perhaps recovery?
Well, the Ukrainian crisis reminds us that there are politically driven challenges that we have to face up to. If you're exposed to that part of the world, to Russia, to Eastern Europe and to the former Soviet states, then obviously, if you like, the aggregate level of risk in that region has gone up. And accordingly, that risk has to be both evaluated and it has to be managed. But in a broader scheme of things, it reminds us that as procurement and supply chain professionals, we have to be continually vigilant when looking at the political risk that exists around the world, as well as managing all of those other risks that it's our responsibility to engage with.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.